All right, we're going to start our new unit, Understanding Number, which has to do with place value, as well as number sense. As you can see, our learning goals are here. We need to use place value to represent whole numbers greater than 1 million, solve problems involving large numbers using technology, determine multiples and factors, solve problems using multiples, identify composite and prime numbers, and apply the order of operations, as well as demonstrate an understanding of integers. Sorry, that one was underneath. Here are our keywords: billion, trillion, common multiples, prime number, composite number, common factors, order of operations, expressions, integers, positive integers, negative integers, as well as opposite integers. We will be talking about all of those in this next unit. But for today, our focus is on our big idea that there are many ways to represent numbers, and knowing what a number means helps us to compare things and to solve problems. Specifically today, our concept will be reading and writing numbers greater than 1 million. Our first lesson, exploring large numbers. Remember, we are reading and writing numbers greater than 1 million. Here we have the world's all-time best-selling copyright book is the Guinness World Book of Records, which I'm sure many of you enjoy. From October 1955 to June 2002, 94,767,803 copies were sold. Suppose this number is written in a place value chart. Where would the digits 9 and 4 appear? Well, let's give it a try. I would always start with this very last period. So 3 is in the ones place, 8 in the tens place, 0 in the hundreds place, and we still put it there. It holds that place value. 7 in the thousands, 6 in the 10,000s, 7 in the 100,000s, because that's our next period. And lastly, we have 4 in the millions, and 9 in the 10 millions. So 94,767,083. Whenever we say a number, we break it into its periods or sections. Each section is what's called a period. We're going to leave the Explore section for now. We're going to move on to the Connect section of your textbook in Lesson 1 of Unit 2. So, as you may already have noticed, there are patterns in the place value system that help us to read and write large numbers. We always read from the right to the left. Each is in groups of 3, and that is called a period, which we already touched on. Within each period, the digits of a number are read as hundreds, tens, ones. So in each section, there's a hundreds, tens, ones. As you can see down below in the place value chart, we have the units period, and there's a hundreds, tens, ones. We have the thousands period. There's a hundreds, tens, ones. The millions period, hundreds, tens, ones. So from each position, it's 10 times as many as the position to the right. So ones times 10 is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10 is 10,000, and so on. So each spot is 10 times bigger than the one in front of it, or the one in front is always 10 times bigger than the one behind it. When we read a number, we always read it saying the period name after that group of numbers. So, for example, we have here 3 in the millions place, so we would say 3 million. Then we'd say this group of numbers, 159,000, 159,000, 119. The units period is the only one where we don't say the name of the period. Everywhere else we do. So as we already discussed, when we read large numbers, we say the period name after each one except for the units period. We can write numbers in a number of different ways. In standard form, which is just number form. We in Canada leave spaces between each group of numbers rather than a comma. In the United States, I'll put a comma. But in Canada, we leave spaces. And it's very important to have those spaces when you write numbers, and you are expected to have those spaces between because it makes the number much easier to read. So we can tell quite quickly here that this 3 is on its own in the very farthest period, and there's 3 periods, so we know that has to be the millions because we've got the units, the thousands, the millions. So we can easily say, okay, 3,159,119. Very important to leave those spaces. The other way that we can write numbers is in expanded form. And expanded form is really just taking each place value and adding all of the zeros in that particular place. Now, one of the ways that you can do this that's a little bit easier, I will show you. For some students, the lining up of the numbers can be a little bit tricky. So when you're writing expanded form, I would suggest going with the largest number, so 3 million. Make sure you leave those spaces between your zeros. Then fill in the next one, so 100,000, filling in the zeros. And this way you know you have enough zeros because you've lined them up nicely. 50,000, so 50, add the 3 zeros. 9,000, so 9. 3 zeros, and this way you can be certain that you do have the right number of zeros. 10, 100, 10, and 9, and then you need the plus sign to show that you've added all of them together because that's important for expanded notation. The other way that you can show a number is in number word form. It's not very common. It's just replacing it with a word for the period name. So 3,159 and number 1,119. All right, the other way that we show a number, and it's not in your textbook, is in word form. When we are writing a number into word form, we always start with the first digit, 3, and then say the period name, so we know it's in the millions, so it would be 3 million. And in the written form, Canadians put a comma, so we need a comma there. 159,000, again a comma there. Remember that if a number is less than 100, so it's from 1 to 99, and it is a 2-word number, it should have a hyphen in between it, that little dash. So again, 3 million, comma, 159,000, comma, last period, 119. So again, it's each period is said. It's basically written exactly as it is in standard form, exactly the same. All right, and the place value chart continues. It can be extended, and each time there's going to be hundreds, tens, ones, and a new period. So from millions, we go to billions, hundreds, tens, ones, then into trillions, hundreds, tens, ones. When we write this word or this number, we would need to make sure we fill in those groups of zeros to hold those periods. We would say this as 50 trillion. There's nothing in the billions, so we don't say anything there. 100 million, and there's nothing in the thousands or the units, so we don't say those. So it would just be 50 trillion, 100 million in word form. All right, now we're going to go back to the Explore section, and we're going to look at some of those large numbers. So here, the largest bag of cookies was made in the Netherlands. It contained this many cookies. I'd like you to take that number and say that number in standard form, or say that number in word form. What would that number be? Go ahead and try that now. Press pause and go ahead. All right, to say that number, we know that it is this number together. So 207,000, because it's in the thousands period. 860 in the second period. Okay. In word form, that would look like this. Let me just make that a little bit bigger. That would look like 200,000, comma, 860. Perfect. In expanded form, go ahead and try that in expanded form now. Press pause and try that. All right, let's take a look at that in expanded form. 200,000 was our first number. We're filling those in. Now the 0 you actually don't need to fill in, but the 7 you do. 7, 0, 0, 0. You could also have a row of zeros if you wanted to fill in that spot there. 860, and we could have that 0 on the end. We don't have to. Very important to have that plus sign. Plus for those. The other way that expanded notation can be done is with with brackets. So this could be seen as 2 times 100,000. And then that would be in brackets. So you might come across some that look like that instead. We'll try one that way as well. All right, let's take a look at our next one here. The greatest attendance of the Olympic Games was, and here's our number, in Los Angeles in 1984. Let's take that number and try it in expanded form. Go ahead and press pause and try that now. All right, let's see what you came up with. Expanded form. Now I'm going to try that different way with the commas. And then we'll do the other one as well. So 5 times, and here would be 1 million in brackets. We'd go plus, and then there would be 700,000. So 7 times 100,000 plus 9 times 10,000, because it's in the 10,000s place, plus 7 times 1,000, because that would be 7,000 and it's in the thousands place, plus 9 times 100, because it's in the hundreds place, plus 2 times 10, because it's in the tens place, plus 3 times 1, because it's in the ones place. So you could try it like that, or we can do it with our lining up of our numbers. We'll try it that way. One moment. All right, let's try it that way. So now we're going to have 5,700,000, 90,000, 7,000. Oops, that zero is a little bit far apart. 900, 20, and 3, adding them all up, of course. So those are a couple of ways that we can show those in expanded form. All right, let's take a look at the next one. The most dominoes toppled by a group was this number out of a possible 4,400,000. It took place in the Netherlands in 2006. Leeuwarden, I would say that would be. Anyway, let's look at this number. Let's try that number in the place value chart. Go ahead, let's try that. You'll have to create your place value chart. All right, let's take a look here. I just took the place value chart that was in the textbook and we're going to just extend it. So we're going to put this number into the place value chart. 1 goes in the ones place, 8 in the tens place, 3 in the hundreds place, and that's all in the units period, remember. In the thousands period, we have 9 in the ones, 7 in the tens. Let's divide those here. And 0 in the hundreds. And then in the millions period, we really only have the 1 digit to worry about, the 4. So 4,079,381 is how that number would be said. All right, let's take a look at our very last one. The longest gum wrapper chain contains this many wrappers. Let's put that number. We've done expanded form, we've done word form, we've done place value chart. Let's try word form again for that one. Go ahead and press pause and try this number in word form. All right, so what that would look like, it would be 1 million, 1 is in the millions period, comma, 192,000, because it's in the thousands period, comma, 492. All right, now you're going to go ahead and try some on your own. You're going to move on to the concept practice. The concept practice always allows you to practice your skills. It does become homework. It is marked and discussed afterwards. You're going to be working in the Math Makes Sense textbook, page 48 and 49, numbers 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 9. Make sure you fully complete those numbers. And your concept that you're going to be practicing, reading and writing numbers greater than 1 million. So go ahead and do that now. All right, once you have done your work, and we will have an opportunity to discuss it, you can move on to the exit slip. This is a check of understanding to see how you're understanding the concept so far. It must be handed in. There are various questions from, in this case, primarily Maximizing Math. They are practicing concept, reading and writing numbers greater than 1 million. If you've lost your paper copy or you don't have a paper copy, you can copy this one. Make sure that you remember to copy this portion. Make sure your name is on it, as well as copying the question and this part of the question and including your answers. Make sure you read the questions carefully. The numbers below are written in expanded form. Write each number in standard form. So here are the definitions of expanded and standard. So remember, this is our expanded form. This is not much different than what we have already done. 8 times 1 million is going to be 8 million. So it's just added that step in there. Then you're supposed to write each number on the place value chart, which means you're going to have a place value chart. So you must create that. Here you're writing the value of the digit, the 5 in each of these numbers. And here you're writing these in words and, from words into standard form. So again, standard form, remember, is number form. So you can go ahead and press pause and do that now.